What's up, my nerdy guys and gals? I'm excited. Anime Expo is in 3 days, guys. 3 days, and it's gonna be awesome. So, I wanted to talk about something that I recently saw a video about, and before I start that, I wanted to talk about the fact that Anime Expo is in 3 days, and tomorrow I will be posting a video, my last video for AX, about my cosplays and stuff like that. I'll be posting, kind of going through my going through my packing skills, which I'm still proud of, by the way, which is really cool. But yeah, besides that though, I do want to get to a lot of interesting things I saw recently on YouTube. But anyways, Anime Expo is coming in 3 days. 3 days, we're 3 days away. So if you haven't got your credentials, Thursday passes, sorry, tongue tied, are almost sold out. Then we have 4 day passes are almost sold out completely. So yeah, so if you want to get those, get them now because they are going to be selling like that, and you are going to be crying on why you didn't pay for Anime Expo. Yeah, I get it; it's pricey, but it's still worth the Anime Expo. Still worth going. But anyways, let's talk about not just Anime Expo, but anime conventions in general. So many years I have been attending conventions. I have been attending conventions since 2007. San Diego Comic Con was my very first convention that I got a glimpse into the nerdy convention, the nerdy community, and the cosplay community as a whole. I've always loved cosplay, but San Diego cosplay pushed me to do that. And for years, I've always wondered about anime conventions. See, I've never been to anime conventions except for Anime Expo 2017, where I got my first glimpse of what an anime convention was. See, I did not know that other conventions really relatively existed in my area. But I fell in love with Anime Expo for one. And secondly, it just felt interesting because Anime Expo really wasn't just a convention for me. It was a gateway to something big that I came to knowing. And well, this is what this video about. And there's a video out there called "What the Hell Happened to Anime Conventions?" And this video relatively talks about the fact that conventions are not the same as they used to be. They're not the niche, nerdy, all-inclusive community like they used to be. It's like, yeah, I get it. I get the fact that the premise of the video is supposed to be about, but you have to understand conventions, especially anime conventions, are growing. Let's look at Anime Expo. Let's talk about it. See, since 1975, conventions like Comic-Con have existed. Comic-Con was a small convention of group of basically guys and girls of artistry decided to make their own manga, doujinshi, and just relatively celebrate it. It was so cool that it became expanded to what it is now, and there are relatively over 400,000 people that usually I believe, go to it. But anyways, it just shows you. See, conventions since the 70s, since anime wasn't so huge back in the 70s, we had Speed Racer, we had The Amazing Three, we had really good classic anime. But in the 80s, anime conventions weren't really known about. This is the thing. I really want to talk about that. Yamato Con in 1983 in Dallas, Texas, was one of the few anime conventions that first popped up in the U.S. It was one of the first few anime conventions that actually kind of brought the idea of making conventions. It was until 1990 where Anime Convention, or ACON, came together. Now, ACON was also the idea, but then you had one convention, AnimeCon. See, AnimeCon was in San Jose, California. Now, this is where things get really interesting. This is where over 2,000 people took over the Red Lion Inn, and it had Japanese creators, Japanese voice actors, all hosting events, panels, and all that at this small event center in San Jose, California, which later would become Anime Expo. ACON, same thing. It was just a small convention and all that started out relatively big, and both AnimeCon And Anime Expo helped jump the purpose of conventions in the United States. See, there was a problem. Anime conventions weren't huge. Hardly any existed. And it was in the 80s that really brought the idea of anime conventions to life. Yamato Kan started the idea. A-Kon and Anime Con started that. 1992, Anime Expo came into life. Now, Anime Expo started at the same place, Red Line Inn in San Jose, California, and would hop up all over Southern California, go Anaheim, LA, Long Beach, yeah, and then make its permanent home in 2008 at Los Angeles Convention Center. And if you many know, it's a great convention center. But that was the start. From 1990 and to now, you have conventions like Fanime, Anime Week in Atlanta. You even have conventions like Otaku Con and Anime Central. You have so many conventions because people decided to come together, make these events happen, and that was awesome. It was a part of the community that people actually came together to bring this nerdy culture together. And it's beautiful. It's a great idea where the cosplayers, nerdy community, anime fans just brought it together. But the video goes into saying what the hell happened to anime conventions because it talks about the fact that anime conventions should be different. That only it would be nerdy exclusive. It was a niche community and all that. It goes on and on and on to saying that being bullied for liking anime was cool. Yeah, it goes into that and goes into that stretch of what? I'm sorry, what? It just makes me wonder on how the possibility of this being a good thing. It was a good was a good thing. Look, I was bullied when I was a kid, and just for liking anime, and anime was practically saved my life because I got introduced to a different world where I got to understand characters and character development and beautiful stories. And yeah, I explored anime, and it was really cool. But the anime community wasn't big until we hit the late 2010s. See, conventions were starting to pop up everywhere. You had conventions like Holiday Matsuri. You even had conventions like Anime Los Angeles, all popping up. You even have conventions now like Anime Riverside, which is cool, and what they have here in the city of Oklahoma City, which we call Anime 405. It's a small convention, relatively small, but it's like a mini anime expo for me, which I really enjoy because there's like big vendors room. They use a huge entire convention center, and it's fun. They even have an awesome cosplay contest, and it's something I personally have. It's a special place in my heart because it reminds me of Anime Expo, but just smaller. But this is what I'm talking about. How this video makes me wonder: are the people trying to attack anime conventions for being popular now, or is it not that? Because you're not thinking straight on how anime even became a thing, which jumped to 2019. See, 2017, 2018, 2019, the popularity of anime was starting to grow. Actually, no, I was watching a crap ton of it. Series like My Hero Academia, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and even series like Kill la Kill were starting to gain popularity. Even Madoka Magica side story, which was amazing by the way, was starting to get more popularity. But how did anime become a huge from 2017 to what it is now? And that question and answer is COVID. See, COVID-19 wasn't just a pandemic that hit the world all of a sudden because March 28th, 2020 is where the global pandemic became reality. everyone was scared, and everyone was watching Netflix, Hulu, Crunchyroll, and all that to get their mind. And people who never watched anime saw it, and that's where it takes off because people started watching anime in their homes. People who never watched anime started watching anime, and it's weird. How is this possible? You're probably wondering. Because COVID-19 gave the idea on to how to be more exploring, how to be an explorer on different types of media, and anime became that thing. Anime just didn't blow up overnight. It took people who didn't want anime, who didn't saw anime, and liked it. And from that point, 2021 and 2022, anime blew up. You had series like Demon Slayer taking over, people packing the theaters for the very first Demon Slayer movie. It was crazy, but you get the point. Anime just didn't blow overnight. It took fans. It took people to actually be open, and crazy enough, it's there. And in 2022, when Anime Expo came back, which I was there by the way, that was difficult. That was truly difficult because I couldn't really get a lot of pictures with the Luffy statue, even though that line was so freaking long. It just shows you that Anime Expo and many other conventions like OtakuCon, Anime Central, SakuraCon, ALA, um, even small conventions started seeing a number of people come in. Anime just didn't anime conventions didn't start seeing people. They started seeing more fans coming in and checking it out. And conventions saw it, and they saw the money worth coming in. And relatively, was interesting. So basically, from 2020 was why anime conventions changed. Because if you look at back in 2017, if you look at before COVID, Anime Expo was still hitting numbers of over 100,000 people a day, and relatively, Anime Expo hit around 180,000 plus people for the entirety of the weekend. But you have to understand the fact that before COVID, anime conventions were still happening. They were still popular. But it was after COVID-19 is where you had to understand that that's where the money hit. People started wondering, people saw anime and they say, oh, Anime Expo, let's check that out. And people said on the news site, and I was there, saying that Anime Expo was their very first convention. They never saw anime, but they saw it in COVID. They saw it during the COVID pandemic, and yeah, it wasn't different. But you get the point. Anime conventions changed because the fandom saw a spike of new people of a new generation rise up. They saw the fact that anime was becoming more popular, and they might as well make money off of it. Hence on why anime conventions started becoming more popular. Yeah, we have fake fans and we have cosplayers who just do it because of popularity, but other than that though, there are lots of good cosplayers out there. Very talented people that I know personally that have great talent. But at the end of the day, this video, I just don't particularly like this video because I'm not really going to talk about too much. It just shows you that conventions didn't change because they wanted to. They changed because they had to. Because with the new generation with Generation Alpha, Generation Z, and an older millennial generation that haven't seen anime saw it. They saw anime for the very first time and they loved it. And you can tell that people weren't just doing this for show. They saw, a lot of them saw and say, "Hey, I can actually get into that." So, yeah, at the end of the day, guys, it's just That's how it is. Before COVID, being an anime nerd was still relatively different. You still got picked on, whether it was on social media or not, and it just shows you that the video of what the hell happened to anime conventions, it just it goes to a negative term on saying that they're commercialized. Well, I'm going to talk about Anime Expo just a bit. Saying that that's commercialized, the fact that Anime Expo has to be commercialized in a way of business, because you have Kodansha, you have Crunchyroll, you have Square Enix, you have Sega, you have Katawa, you have also you have Hoyoverse, Side Games, you have Ami Ami, you have Viz Media, you have all these booths being bought from these corporations to be at Anime Expo. It's a business. It has to be happening, because without these businesses, Anime Expo won't be getting the money to pay back for renting the convention center, because that takes a lot of money, guys. And that's not just me saying it. It's like running a convention is money. You have to be knowledgeable to run it, and that's why anime conventions have to be kind of commercialized or have to get noticed, because if they don't make money, well, then they sink. Then they don't appear anymore, and that doesn't help the city. Anime Expo helps the city of LA make generate over $1 billion just entirely of the weekend, and with the World Cup this year, it's even generated a lot more money. But again, the video just goes on to attack. Personally, I think video goes on to attack conventions, and saying that they're overpopular and all that. It's kind of stupid, because it's like saying that, well, we need to go back to a time where being picked on was so different and all that. That's where I got into anime. It's like, well, not everyone, anyone who got bullied for liking anime will still get bullied. You're still going to get bullied from people that don't understand it, and generally, that's kind of the anime community, because it's huge. It's hugely different, because you have the community that hates cosplay, and then you have the community that hates subs, dubs, whole 9 yards. Relatively, in the end, there's going to be still hate towards the anime fans regardless. You're going to see extreme feminism taking over, saying that characters like Madoka Magica are too young, or you're going to say that Emma from The Promised Neverland is just too little. I mean, it's you're always going to have hate regardless of this. And videos like these just don't point out the facts that conventions have to be commercialized in order to make money for the community and for the community around them. In order to make money, it's relatively hard to run a convention without paying for the convention center, paying for the event center for one, paying for the vendors, paying for the people, actors, voice actors, cosplayers, and all that. So yeah, conventions, it takes a lot of money, and the video doesn't explain that too well. But hey, that's just my 2 cents on this. That's just my 2 cents on it. So yeah, I'm just gonna y'all see it. I'll be at Anime Expo. Tomorrow will be my last video before I post. This tomorrow will be my final video for Anime Expo. I'll be showing you my cosplays and all that, and oh boy, guys, it's gonna be fun. But anyways, yeah, just anyways, take care, my nerdy guys and gals. I love you all. Hope to see you at Anime Expo. If you're not, that's fine. I'll be at different conventions coming up. So yeah, it's gonna be cool. Anyways, see y'all. Peace out.